Hello, this is our third episode of the Beyond Consulting podcast. I'm really happy that we can do this episode today with Rui Coelho, Head of PMO and Retail IT at Prio. Welcome to the show, Rui.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And it's really good speaking today. I think you've been a lot in transformation. You've been in the energy space. You are in IT. A lot of things are happening in this sector. And as with Beyond Consulting, we want to have a look, of course, how are consultants and transformations impacting the industry, what they can do. I'm really, really pleased to have you here today and speaking about those topics.
Thank you, Christian, for the invitation. I think it's a sector that is very dynamic, as you say, and it's truly in a big transformation, as we all know. Mm-hmm. The energy sector is transforming itself because of not only environmental needs, but also because of the always increasing need of energy for everything that we do. And this requires always transformation. So every company needs to be on their toes, always updating, always transforming to be on, try to accompany the new times.
And Rui, before we go maybe into the main, discussion topics, also for our listeners, if you could share maybe a little bit about yourself and what are you doing at Prio, just to have a bit of an intro and understand a bit better what type of transformations you've been involved with so far.
Sure. So my background is in IT. I started as a developer. Then I went up the normal ladder, the normal professional ladder. So I was an analyst, then I was a team leader, then a business analyst, functional analyst, and then became a project manager. After that, I was in a couple of big retail companies where I was more connected with other sectors, and then from 8 years, 7-8 years, I came to Prio. In Prio, I came as an IT project manager, and then in the next year, I was given a challenge to become the head of an area of continuous improvement, best practices area. Mm-hmm. And then 5 or 6 years ago, I became the head of PMO, so the head of project management office that does all kinds of projects, some across all the company and some more focused on IT. The retail IT team was I became the responsible for the retail IT team in I think 2 years ago maybe, and it was a challenge because it's in the opposite spectrum of the company, so it's a more operational kind of product management connected with the systems of the retail operation.
Mm-hmm. I find that fascinating because what you describe is, you have seen it all, kind of going from really the developer, to the head of project management for a lot of projects, and at the same time being involved with very hands-on, implementations and operation in the retail IT. So I would assume you've seen many teams on various challenges. If you think around that, I mean, what's the secret ingredients to build a high performing team to execute transformation and projects?
Well, first, I think some of my way of doing things are heavily influenced by my past. So I was a consultant for 6 years. And I was in a lot of different business sectors as an IT, as I told you, as an IT consultant, as an analyst, as a team leader. I was in different client organizations. So it became clear that what the teams needed, and I think that experience brought me to the conclusion that if somehow in the future I would lead some teams, I would be sure to make the most of that opportunity, and try to motivate. I think it is one of the most underrated things that you can do to a team to become high performance team, is to motivate their needs, not their needs. I was thinking of another word, but it's not coming around now.
The purpose, maybe.
Purpose, exactly.
Yeah, and how do you have a concrete example? I mean, everyone is talking about purpose these days and doing what you really, really love. But if you are on a transformation, I would assume there is also. I've seen it maybe on a couple of projects when I was in consulting, that there is, of course, also this point where you actually start changing the ways maybe you've done it before, where there is a bit of a pain also in the organization due to that change. So it's not always, nice and cozy, but there will be also things that you're going to change in a transformation. And how do you basically reconcile that with that motivation and that purpose that you spark in the team?
So people know that change is inevitable, and resistance is typical and is natural in the human being to resist some changes. But if you are honest and with the people that are being affected, and try to involve them in the way that the change is going to occur, to hear them. It's very important to hear them and to hear their side of the story. You can always do it in a softer way, and people will gather with you to make the change process a little bit more effective.
Mm-hmm. And have you? What was the hardest thing you had to come across, if there was something like that, where you had to motivate a team, or where it was particularly challenged? I mean, is there maybe an example that you can share with us, and how you did it?
The most difficult thing I ever done professionally was to fire someone. It was really, really hard for me. Mm-hmm. Because I truly believe in everyone has good qualities that you can work with, and whenever you have a gap, you can work that gap to bring the person up to where you want it. And that was really one of the things that really cost me, that was really hard for me, was to fire someone. Mm-hmm. I think that is not really the answer that you were looking for. You were looking more for what was the change process that was really the hardest.
But I can relate to it, Rui, because I think for many leaders that is really tough. I mean, including myself as a little, running a company with 20 people, but firing someone because you are forced to do it for whatever reasons doesn't have to be always performance. That is, of course, a tough decision for any leader. And it brings me maybe to one thought that sparked just in my head around how do you compose the teams? So if I think back in time, maybe 15 years ago, when I was a consultant, typically you were thinking of teams that help transformations as a completely full-time team. You had maybe in the consultancy, in the company, you have a team of employees, and if there was a skill gap, for example, you would just think about like hiring another person to the team that was then another full-time employee, and you kind of work on projects together. Now, my experience is that has changed because the skill sets that you need are changing ever more and much faster. So it's very difficult to keep all these skills in house. So maybe
Yes.
That came to my mind when you said, like, look, I had to basically let go of someone, maybe because he or she wasn't able to be upskilled, maybe not in that time. Maybe we needed some different skill sets. What's your view on that? Like, do companies stick really with this, I'd say, very closed setup of having everything in house? Or if you embrace more flexible model, that has, of course, then an advantage there.
In the past, I was in organizations, in companies that usually went for the closed approach. So they wanted to build the skills in house, and then only work inside. I understand a little bit that side, because you sometimes you are dealing with core information, business information that you cannot divulge. So it's kind of a good practice to have everyone belonging to the company. It's kind of a not really a fail-safe way to conserve the information inside the company, but at least they are your employees. In the companies the company that I work now, and even in the past, but in this company today, we work a lot with external companies. So we have outsourcing. Our teams have a percentage of outsourcing, and that are really part of our day-to-day teams. They are not brought in for a single project. They are not brought in for a specific action. No, they are. We have a regimen that we bring people from outsourcing to work with us, and then we have 1 or 2 years that they work with us, and we have an agreement with the outsourcing company that 1 or 2 years we can then internalize the person if we really want it.
And what is the main driver behind it? So you say we want to stay flexible in the market, we want to add skills more quickly to the organization, or we rather prefer to do informed hires after 2 years as to you know the person really well. So it's a less risky hire than if you would get someone fresh from the market. So what's kind of like behind that model?
One of the reasons is to avoid that situation of having to fire someone. So you have some time available to you, so you can analyze and see if the person really fits not only the tasks that they must do, but and the role that they must do, but also the environment that you want for your team, the soft skills that you want to, the image that they project from your team to other areas, to the business areas. You have that flexibility of saying, okay, I don't want to continue with this person. And usually you can replace it really quickly. So it's a good situation that you have always some dependable company that will send you a good element that could eventually further down the line come in to your company. It has happened to me many times. I have a split of maybe 50-50 in my teams.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always people that came through this arrangement. So they also always began as outsourcers for my team, and with some time they became essential to me, and I just asked my CEO
Mm-hmm.
to bring him in.
Super. I mean, I think with that model, you're very advanced. Yeah? And I would say, I mean, it's a model also at Expert Powerhouse. We have a lot where companies basically get freelancers into their teams, and eventually, you know, if it works really well, some of them also consider joining that company. Others are also saying, I want to keep my freedom and I just, you know, never want to be employed again.
Yeah.
And I just move on and, or stay in touch and then do like, you know, not a full-time job anymore at the company, but because of course I might know them really well. They know me really well. We do great work together. Go also more into like a, you know, part-time support with them, and they sustain a work with, let's say, 2 or 3 clients. That they work on in a similar functionality. Of course, it cannot never be competitors, that is clear. But sort of like they in that sense also keep their expertise sharp while not only working with one company, but with multiple companies. And of course, maybe that for you then becomes a challenge because you don't have them 100% dedicated anymore. Where do you see similar situations, or is it not so much a problem for you?
There was someone in the past like that. So he was a consultant for another company and also a freelancer in our company. So it really didn't work for me, but since he wasn't in my team, it was okay.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, so one question we always get is, of course, when you bring in these new people, how do you really make sure they are a good fit to the team? And what is important for you, basically, when you have someone new who's coming from external through an agency as a freelancer? How do you make sure they really fit in the team, and then also the team accepts them as an external? Because there could be a lot of objections. I would say, they're new, they don't know us, maybe they're getting a lot more money than I do. There might be many topics. How do you deal with that?
Well, the first thing I do, I take a little bit of a different approach when I interview people. First of all, I do kind of a presentation of how we work. What is the company? The company is like this. There's these companies inside, because it's a company group. Mm-hmm. We have these companies that work in this business, and we have these kind of usual processes. We work these technologies, and the project method that we use is like this. And then after that, I will say what I'm looking for is this, and I will talk about the characteristics, and we'll have a first chat about the past of the person, how if they knew the company, what do they, how would they contribute to the work that we are doing, what do they know about transformation, what is the value added of our function. I'll try to establish not only hard skills but soft skills from them. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. Sometimes I fail, but one of the things that is extremely important, and it's that I don't detect any red flags. Mm-hmm. So usually when someone shows that is a knows-it-all, that he already knows everything, or if it shows to not be very open. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not very open, outgoing. It's really bad for us, because in our function we must be really very easy to talk with, and we must really be able to share what I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's probably like you say, like you need to connect to a lot of people in the organization and bring things together. So it's really on that end, like you need to be a very good communicator. And I completely agree with what you say. Yeah, of course, you need to make sure the red flags are out. I see a lot of course, when people come in, typically I would assume you get a lot of CVs sent, or you get the profiles of the candidates and you select them, and then further on you take some of those on board and you run the project. Now, what I find very interesting that with AI, I mean, everyone talks about AI. You see a lot of these processes being questioned, and I'm, of course, like with my own company, like we're looking into, like, how do you automate this process? How do you bring better matching accuracy in there? And one question I really like is, like, at some point, would you always see that there is a manual value in a manual selection process? Or do you think at some point, like, this entire matching could be done completely by an AI? So you say, look, I need this in that person. And ultimately, on Monday, that person is there, selected, interviewed by the AI.
Well, sure, if you're looking for someone that has particular hard skills, I think you could automate somewhat the process. I don't think that if you're looking for soft skills, and most of my collaborators are, most of my teams are people that really need to have good soft skills. I don't think that automation will bring anything to search for that kind of profile.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And thinking that further, so do you see AI playing a role in the execution of the projects? So let's say I hear some people saying, look, PMO, and I mean, you're probably the best person to answer this, as one hand on the and as an expert in the IT side, but also as an expert in PMO. Yeah? Is there, really a risk that AI will replace the PMO and the PMO consultants? Or will be always needed? And actually, the innovation is then in the applications with the AI, where they actually enable the organization to use it.
I think that this has been a big talk about AI in project management. I think if you are looking for that those tedious tasks of checking milestones and registering some documents, I think that would be, or authorizing some expenses. I think that could be done with AI, but fully executing a project, I don't think so. Of course, there are many kind of projects. If it's a very technical project, I could see that could be a lot more automation. Usually projects have a lot of conversation and a lot of sitting with another person and saying, okay, we need to do this. How do we feel about this? Can we go this way? When can you do it? people are not constants; they are variables, and AI deals better with constants than with variables.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love that way of thinking. And now, I mean, it's a hypothetical question, of course, but imagine we were here again in 10 years or 5 years. 10 years, probably no one can know what is in 10 years, but in 5 years, what would have changed in the project execution? And selecting people, onboarding people, what would be your view on that?
I think probably there will be a lot of AI tools to help the project management, not to substitute it, but to help some of the more administrative tasks, and that would be a hard skill to find it. Then project managers, PMO and project manager is a little bit different because in a PMO, I think the project managers also accumulate a little bit of business analyst, and this will be something that also AI could help the future project management. In 5 years, what could I want for a project manager that I don't have now? I don't know. I really I have no idea.
Yeah, but I mean, it's evolving probably. No one knows the answer here, really. But yeah, it's going to be, of course, interesting. And also, I think challenging times ahead. But as I hear you saying, you would say, like, even in 5 years or even maybe in 10 years, we'd need PMO consultants, and basically because they communicate with the organization and they bring people together and are acting as on the softer level.
As all, if companies still are made of people, you need project managers. If you can substitute people for robots or for pieces that are really more of a constant, as I said, then I really don't know. Then if it stops to be intuitive, to be purely logical, okay, then you could substitute the project manager.
Do you see that a lot? Like people getting robotized? I mean, probably you can do that for a specific role. But is there some robot that could maybe also do the project manager?
No, what I see now is a big hype about AI everywhere. So every business area wants AI, and they really don't really know exactly what they want, but they want AI. They want to have an advantage in their processes, but they really don't know how they are going, what they really want. This is a big hype, and I would really separate looking at the big companies, what they are doing. I would really separate AI into different topics. The personal tool, that you give your employees to do a better job, and that is okay. I see it with good eyes. It's really represents low danger for the company. But then you have the other AI that you want to build. That is the AI that has all the information, all the business information of your company. And there, the big companies are dividing and not really using market tools. They are building their own tools. And I think that AI will go this way. In our company, it's really too new to know what we are going to do. We are still looking at what comes next.
And maybe to ask a last question here, yeah. So if you look at around like a lot of maybe PMO consultants, project leaders, program managers, yeah, from your vast experience, is there, and also looking at the challenges that I had now with AI and everything's moving faster, do you have a single career advice that you would love to share with our audience?
Yeah. Always be persistent. Go. Don't give up because you will always have bad times, and just keep on going.
Keep on going. Rui, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today. It's really nice talking. Thank you for the time. And of course, also wishing you a very great Merry Christmas time and a good start in the new year later.
Thank you, Christian. Bye-bye.